Welcome back to the Ascended Thoughts podcast. I'm your host, mysticrainn. I want to talk about manifestation and what I believe is the easiest way in order to manifest. And I want to talk about this because I work with so many of you all, and you tell me your dreams and your goals and your ambitions. And then I say, all right, that's beautiful. Like, go get it. What are you waiting for? And a common denominator that I realize is that a lot of you guys are waiting for permission. You're waiting for permission to live the life that you always dreamed. You're waiting for something outside of yourself to show you that you're worth it or that you deserve to have whatever it is that you want to have. And I feel like this is going to be a little bit controversial, and I think it's going to be controversial for the reason that it's simple. Sometimes things can be so simple that it blows your mind, and people have a hard time coming to terms with whatever it is. There's this idea of like, no, it can't be so simple. And so I'm going to give you the secret sauce, right? That formula. I want to give you the formula of what it is that you need to do in order to get whatever it is that you want to have. And I figured we're going to go right into this, right? I'm not going to even make you wait an entire podcast episode in order for me to get to it and put it all the way at the end, right? So sit down for me if you're not sitting down already. But that secret formula to getting whatever it is that you want is me equals. And that's it. That's all you need. Me equals. What do you want? When I say to people, what do you want? Well, I don't know. What do you want? Well, I hope that one day I can have. I've been wishing that one day I can get. I've been praying that one day the universe, God, Allah, Buddha, whoever is going to hand me this thing that I so desire. And I've been working really, really hard to get it. But what I never hear people say is that they want it. They do everything else but say that they want something. And then I always go back in, but what do you want though? I didn't ask you what you wished for. I didn't ask you what your childhood dream was. What do you want? It's really that simple. What do you want? Me equals. What do you want? The thing is, society has created the system that makes us feel that we have to have everything to justify getting something. And if you really sort of zoom out and think about it, it works really well for society, right? That's how you get a productive workforce. People that believe that in order to get anything at all, to get a reward, to get some sort of payment or wages, that what they need to do in exchange is labor. And we have been taught, and it starts as children, that we have to exchange work for something. If we want a reward, we must work for it. As a kid, you're taught really early on a reward system. You're taught to do something and then you get a piece of candy in return, or you get 5 extra minutes at recess when you get to go play, right? And if you don't do that thing that adults want you to do, then you get penalized for it. You got to go sit into a corner, right? You go on a timeout. You even see it with how we treat animals. When we treat dogs, right? We teach dogs to do some sort of behavior that us as humans have deemed acceptable. Never mind what's acceptable to an animal. As humans, we want you to behave a certain way. And the way we enforce that behavior is with food, right? If you want food, then you must do this. You must sit. You must stay. If you want to go outside, if you want to go to the park, you must do these things that us as humans have deemed necessary for you to do in order to get food. In order for you to satisfy your basic need as an animal, right? You must do the following. And humans have trained each other that way. In order for you to get that very thing that you need to survive as a human, right? Namely wages, which we then use to then go get food in order to eat or put a roof over our head, right? In order for you to meet your basic needs as a human, you must work. You must work. You must work hard enough to be deserving enough of a certain amount of wages. And then we put groups, right? We put groups of different kinds of work into certain wage categories, and we call that a tax bracket. So as humans, we have a very sort of unique way into brainwashing each other into believing that hard work is what you need in order to get the things that you want. And one day I was sitting back thinking to myself, I don't think that's correct at all. And I remember being really frustrated. I had all these things that I was trying to manifest, and I was going through a slump, and nothing was going the way I wanted it to go. And then I started to channel, and I started to channel from a collective group, because I did work with various collective groups and also a galactic group. And this particular group told me that us as humans, we make the idea of manifestation really complicated, right? We are asking a power or a source outside of ourselves for something. Typically, we're usually asking maybe God or the universe to give us something. The thing is, the universe or God is not the sole creator. You yourself are also a creator. The reason why you yourself is also the creator is because you come from source. You come from God. You come from the universe. However, which way you want to phrase it, whatever words you want to use for it, we're all essentially saying the same thing, right? Even people, some people think that, that God created man. Okay. But some people also think that, like, what we call the universe is really synonymous for what we call God. Okay. Well, then there's this idea that the universe created man. However you get there, based off of what words you prefer to use, we all still are coming from the same place. We all are a part of, we are all still one with, right? We are all still part of the cosmos. Each and every single one of us is made up from cosmic dust. That is what we are. So if that is what we are, why do we think that the only thing that's capable of creating is God and or the universe? If we are of them, then that also by default makes us creators too, because we are of the same thing that creates us all. That makes us co-creators. When you realize that you are a co-creator, you can then have fun with God, have fun with the universe, whatever, and co-create with it. The universe is not coming up with things all by itself, right? You're working with the energies of the universe. It's like a partnership. And the way it works is so simple. You just tell it what you want and it gives it right back to you. And we know that that's true because the age-old wisdom, be careful what you wish for. We have all wanted something or wished for something and thought to ourselves, oh crap. Maybe I shouldn't have asked for that, right? We all wanted something. At some point, there's always something that we wanted that we got, and we went, oh man, you know what? This isn't what I thought it would be. That's why it's age-old wisdom. So we actually have evidence that all we had to do was want something, right? And then that got me thinking. I don't believe that hard work is necessary to get anything at all. I think you just simply have to want it. And this may be controversial depending on who's listening to it, but I got to be real honest. There's a lot of people and pop culture right now that I just don't think are on their hands and knees praying for the stuff that they have, right? If you look at like Jeff Bezos, I just don't see him praying on his knees, begging, asking God for all of his money and his riches and his resources. Mark Zuckerberg, I just don't see it. I see two privileged white men that decided that they want something and so they took it. When you look at the Kardashians, and I'm not one of those Kardashian people, I actually keep up with the Kardashians. I don't have an issue with the Kardashians, right? Now, I do understand how people would have issues with some of their practices. The reason why I don't have issues with it is because it's not my life. They don't affect me. There's not any decisions that the Kardashian makes that changes my life at all, any whatsoever. I find them entertaining. That's what they do. They entertain and I enjoy them for what they do, right? But what I will say is this. I don't see any of those Kardashians on their knees begging for anything, ever. When you look at Kendall Kardashian, she is the highest paid supermodel in the world. And she wasn't even a supermodel. She just said she wanted to walk. That was it. And then you take her and you compare her to all the actual supermodels, women that have been doing it for ages since they were little girls, who have worked and trained their entire lives to be like these world-renowned supermodels. And you look at Kendall Jenner, who had a big sister who just happened to have contact. She got put in the show. When Kendall Jenner first started modeling, she had a really hard time because the other girls behind the stage had no respect for her whatsoever. And she actually talks about this, how she used to be bullied when she first started modeling because none of the girls respected her as a model. They felt like she just walked in when they had been fighting and clawing for those roles and those opportunities for a long time. She didn't have to do a fraction of the work of what they were doing, and she wasn't even that good, but she got to be on the runway anyway. And what that tells you is that all Kendall had to do was want it. That was it. She just had to want to model. Kendall didn't beg anybody to model. She just said she wanted to do it. So they pushed her out there and she got to do it. Now, granted, Kendall Jenner has a machine behind her, right? What Kendall has that a lot of us don't have, she has an enormous amount of privilege and privilege and money gets you access, right? But what I'm doing is trying to show the energy of just wanting something. Kendall did not say, okay, if I work really, really, really hard for this, then surely it'll work out. That's not what happened. She just said she wanted to be there, and then there she was. And so I say that to say there are so many people that are highlighted in society that have a lot of stuff that did not have to work for the stuff that they got. They just got it because they decided that they actually wanted to have it. And that is what co-creation means. You just have it because you actually wanted it. You don't have to like work or deserve or have to earn anything. You know, you look at Donald Trump. Donald Trump has a lot of things. He didn't earn any of it, right? He didn't earn any of that. Most of it actually was stolen, but like whatever, right? He didn't earn any of his stuff. And so what I'm trying to show you is that earning is not a requirement for manifestation. Working or working hard is not a requirement for manifestation. And so what happens as humans is that we created this formula. We put all these variables in this formula, and then we wonder why we can't solve it. We wonder why we can't solve the formula, why we can't solve the problem, and why we have so many issues when we're trying to manifest, right? As humans, we have created this formula that's like me plus work really hard plus earn plus deserve equals whatever it is that you want to manifest, right? So it could be equals whatever salary you want. Maybe you wanted six figures or whatever. Maybe you wanted a really big house. Maybe you convinced yourself that if you work really hard, you will fall in love. That's a big one, right? If I work really hard on myself, maybe I'll meet someone that loves me and I can fall in love and I can be in a romantic relationship. What people don't realize is I see a whole lot of people in romantic relationships and they are toxic as fuck. They are toxic. They are really shitty, bad partners, and they still find people that love them somehow. Now, those people are also toxic as fuck, right? But I say that to demonstrate the fact that you doing all of this work is not a requirement for anything that you want. Granted, working on yourself is helpful in relationships because it helps you minimize some of your toxic patterns. But being a non-toxic individual is not a requirement for being in a relationship. Working on yourself is not a requirement for being in a relationship. If it was, you wouldn't know people who are still in toxic relationships. You wouldn't know toxic people that somehow, some way are always finding a date. Why? Because working really hard in this circumstance on yourself is not a requirement to solve the problem, to solve the formula, to manifest. Those people just said, I want. In their case, probably another victim or whatever, but they just decided that they wanted something and therefore they got it. And so when you're doing me plus work hard plus earn plus deserve, right? What happens when you wake up on the wrong side of the bed and, and you don't feel good about yourself? And then maybe you go to work and maybe you mess up really bad at work. Now all of a sudden you feel like you don't deserve anything. What happens when you have days like that when you don't feel really deserving? Because we all go through that, right? We all have days where we don't feel that great or we don't feel worthy. That's something that we all deal with from time to time. Something may happen, or maybe you're just moody and irritable, right? And maybe you just don't feel worthy that day. If you have worthy and deserve and earn in your formula for manifestation, if I, which is the me, do all of these things, if I make sure I'm worthy and I've earned it, and I'm gonna do affirmations and work on self-love so I can feel like I deserve it. What happens if one day you just wake up on the other side of the bed and you just don't feel worthy that day? What happens is your entire formula fails. Now you got to start all over from the very beginning when trying to manifest, and you're sitting there trying to figure out why you've been working on this thing to manifest something and it's never come to fruition because you've created for a formula for yourself that you can't even solve, right? So hear me on this. If we are co-creators, you created that formula. That means that you can then go and create a new formula. And so if you create that formula, let's make a formula right now. Let's start canceling shit out, right? All those variables, I can't solve that. I was terrible at math. Okay, algebra was not my thing. I decided to go to law school. I read. I don't do math. I need a basic calculator. I hate math, okay? Why on earth would I create a formula that has so many variables that I can't even solve? That don't make no goddamn sense. So let's cancel the motherfuckers out. We're gonna cancel those out. Also, if you guys haven't noticed, this podcast has not gone to E for explicit. Guys, I cannot not, guys, what the hell was I doing before? I can't do it. I can't do it. I was trying to be all cute and stuff, all sing-songy because I thought that's all the spiritual creators do. God damn it, I can't do it. That is not me. That's not real. And you know what? Sometimes part of the spiritual journey is experiencing real shit. And I can't articulate to you what it means if I'm over here trying to censor my damn self. So this podcast has now gone from clean to explicit. It is what it is. Anyway, right? Let's cancel some shit out. So we're going to have me. Let's cancel out the earn. Let's cancel out the work really hard because you don't have to work at all to get money. Everybody in the 1%, they don't work, right? People that are truly, truly rich, they don't work. The wealthy, they don't work, everybody. Their money is making money. They're not doing shit. They're not working, which tells you that it's not necessary for the formula. It's not necessary. It's not necessary to have it in order to manifest. So let's cancel that shit out because we already had an example from society that we don't need it, right? Let's cancel out earn. We've seen a lot of celebrities that got a lot of stuff and we feel like we don't earn them. How many people get canceled every single day? So let's cancel that out too. Let's talk about deserve. Why? Why do we have to deserve it? Who came up with that shit? Who came up with the idea that you have to deserve something to have it? I don't know about you, but I remember being a kid. I remember being like 8, 9 years old. And I remember they'd be bad too. I remember having like bad kids. Like we all as kids know the kid that's real bad, right? At school. And they would come to school and maybe they had like new sneakers on or something. Or maybe they had like a really good lunch and you can tell that they had 2 parents that loved them or something like that. And you would think to myself, well, I know little Jimmy over there didn't do anything for that. Or I know I've seen kids steal erasers and pencil sharpeners from other kids, and you would look at them and go, well, they didn't deserve that, right? But you know what? The kid that stole it wanted to manifest a pencil sharpener that day, and doggone it, they manifest a pencil sharpener. And I understand that these are probably really silly examples, but I'm saying them because the examples literally exist everywhere. How many of you guys have worked with somebody who got a raise and you're the one that did all the work, or they got promoted and you were doing all of the work, and that shows you that they didn't deserve it? How many of you have worked with people and you're like, I don't understand. They don't deserve any of that, but they made more money than you. They had a higher title than you did, and you're looking at them with the side eye because you don't understand. And what I'm trying to show you again with that is that deserving something is not a necessary part of the formula. So because it's not necessary, let's cancel that shit out too. If we canceled out all those variables, what's left is me and then equals, right? That means that the formula, that problem solves itself. All you have to do is decide that day what me equals. You don't have to have an answer for how you're going to get it. You just have to say me equals what is it? Because you're the co-creator, right? You tell the universe me equals money. How much money, sis? What you want? How much? What is it? Tell the universe what it is so the universe can go, okay. The issue is you guys are going to the universe and saying, universe, I want this much money, or I want to get married. I want a loving relationship. And then you start bargaining with the universe. And in order to get it, this is what I'm going to do to help you out. I'm going to be a better person. I'm going to work on myself. I'm going to show you, universe, that I deserve it. I deserve it. The universe is looking at you like, look, we don't have time for humans and you guys' weird egos and bullshit and your insecurities that you're going through all the time. We don't have time for that. We didn't ask you all that. We just wanted to know what you wanted. You're sitting there bargaining and negotiating, and nobody even asked you for the terms. You're coming up with terms that you can't even satisfy. Nobody even asked you. No one cared. The universe just wanted to know what you wanted. Are you hungry or not? You're sitting there going, okay, I'm really, really hungry. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to work really hard from 9 to 12. And then at 12, I'll take my lunch. I'm going to eat. But then if you look at other areas in the animal kingdom, only humans do that. For all of you guys that have pets, what happens when your dog gets hungry or your cats get hungry? They don't go, oh, I'm gonna wait till lunchtime. No, they just go eat. They don't put all the parameters on how to manifest something. They just decide that they want it. And when they make that decision, they go get it. They don't bog themselves down with the logistics and the know-how and how I'm going to get there. Some of you guys want to do things. Maybe you want to launch your own businesses. Maybe you want to travel, but you stomp yourself because you say, I just don't know how I'm going to do that. It's too hard. How am I going to pull that off? Right? The thing is, it never occurs to you that the answer for how you're going to do it or how you're going to pull it off doesn't come to you because you didn't make the decision in the first place, right? Why would it come to someone that didn't make the decision? If you want to travel, but you don't make the decision to go, why would the answers come to you on how you would actually do that? If you want a business, but you don't actually make the conscious decision, like, okay, I'm just going to start it, why would all of the answers come to you? Some of you right now are listening to this thinking, I want to start a business, but it never occurred to you to even come up with a goddamn name for what the business is. What is the name of it, sis? What are you going to call it? This is why you don't have an answer for how to get a business off the ground or what you're going to do with it. You didn't even think about the name. Just make a decision. Just make the decision that you wanted and then stop fucking talking. That's it. We're done. Stop talking. The issue is you go, I want this, and then you keep talking. You keep talking in the midst of your talking because you're battling with your own shadow. You're battling with your own insecurities. You're battling with your own lack of confidence, right? And this is not just me calling you out. I go through the same thing, right? I'm on the same spiritual journey as the rest of you guys. That's why I can talk about it so freely because I understand its path. Right? You're battling with yourself and your low self-esteem in certain areas. And so then you start bargaining. You start bargaining. And then you realize why it's not working because you just didn't end it with the period. I said what I said. I want this, and that is the end of it. I want money, that is the end of it. I want to make this amount of money, and that is the end of it. I want a business, that's the end. I want to be in a loving relationship, that's the end. I want to travel. That's it. Stop talking. You don't have to bargain with yourself. It doesn't matter what you deserve. I don't care what you deserve. Do you want it though? I don't care what you earned. I don't care how much work you did in order to earn something. Do you want it? You can work as hard as you want to work and not get it, right? Because did you want it? I have seen so many people work and then die before they even reach retirement. And those people were thinking to themselves, if I work really, really hard, hopefully I'll save up enough money and I'll be able to retire nicely. And then they died before they even get to retirement. And that should tell you that hard work is not part of the formula when it comes to manifestation. The formula is me equals. That is the secret. That's it. What do you want? That's it. Stop talking after that. I said what I said. If I said I want money, I want money. That's it. I'm not bargaining anymore. I'm not negotiating anymore. It's not my job to prove to you why I should have something, right? Because sometimes you say, oh, I want something. And then maybe your friend or a family member or maybe your partner is like, well, why? I don't need to tell you why. That's none of your business. Like, it's why, because I said so. That's why. But I don't owe you an explanation for what I want in my life. I don't owe you an explanation for how I wish to manifest. I don't owe you an explanation for the kind of life that I want to live. And you know what? You don't owe yourself an explanation. All you need to know is why. That's it. Or not why, what? What do you want? What do you want? You don't owe an explanation. And the reason why you don't owe an explanation is because the universe never asked you for one. The universe never asks you for an explanation. So stop giving one. Just what do you want? That's it. And if you want to get cute and you want to be, I'm gonna get a journal. I'm gonna make a real cute journal. I'm gonna make a manifestation journal. Then like, do you, boo? I don't care, right? If it helps you, great. It may help you come to terms with what you want. And the reason why is because a lot of you have gone your whole life and you don't even know what you want. And the reason why is because society teaches you not to want for nothing, right? How many of you have been told not to ask for something? And you've been told that since you were a child, not to ask for anything. So when you start asking, you think you're asking. What you're really doing is commanding. But you think that you're asking, and that's when you start negotiating. That's when you start, oh, universe, I'll do this, I'll do that, I'll work so hard, this and that, the third, because you were taught as a child not to ask for something. Then you become an adult, and now you think you're asking for money. You're not asking, you're commanding for money. It's your birthright. It's your birthright to live comfortably. It's your birthright to eat, damn it. It's your birthright to have a roof over your head, or how else are you supposed to get through this hard-ass thing we call life? It's your birthright. You don't have to ask for anything. What you're doing is claiming what is already yours. And you know it's yours because it exists. Saying that you want to make a lot of money, saying that you want to live in a nice home is not crazy. And you know it's not crazy because there's nice houses down the street. Why can't you be in one of those nice houses? They exist. It's right down the street. You're not crazy. The issue is that you were taught not to ask for anything. And so now you become an adult and you don't know how to command. I didn't say ask. You're commanding. You're also not demanding anything. Why? Because a demand is implying that it's a request. I'm not requesting nothing. What I said. This is what I want. That's it. That's it. I want what I want. So allow yourself to step into what's yours. What you're doing is just going to get what's yours. You hung it on a shelf before you incarnated. That's why you think about it all the time, right? Those of you that have the same dream of maybe you want success or maybe you want a big, beautiful family, those are things that you were always supposed to think about. You hung them up before you incarnated because you were supposed to come into this life, and part of what you're working through as you're working through your healing journey is figuring out how to go get those things. So go back to the shelf that you hung it up on because you hung it for yourself, waiting for you to get here. It's like hanging a coat up on a rack. You leave it there until it gets cold again, and then you put the coat back on. Go get your coat because pre-incarnated you hung it up for you. That's why these are thoughts that you have all of the time, right? And go get what's yours. Because pre-incarnate you has already started the process of manifesting it for you, which is why it's such a reoccurring thought for you. And I'm saying it this way because everyone that's listening to this, you will know exactly what your reoccurring thought is. What is that one thing that you always wanted and you knew you wanted? Or you wanted to do, or you wanted to have, or you wanted to be. You have a reoccurring thought, we all do. Something that you've always held dearly for a lot of you since childhood. It's because pre-incarnate you hung it up, right? And it was waiting for currently incarnated you to go back to go get it. So go back and go get that thing that you wanted. You don't need to ask for nothing. You don't have to bargain for anything that it is that you want. You see it all throughout society. People have a lot of things that they didn't ask for. People have a lot of things that they didn't work for. People have a lot of things that they didn't earn. And people damn sure have a lot of things that they damn well don't deserve. So that should tell you that those factors are not important factors for manifesting the type of life that it is that you want. It just isn't at all. It just isn't. If people can have an abundance of a life, right, or abundance in life by running back and forth on a court, dribbling a ball, not to say that I have anything against basketball, because I don't have anything against basketball, but that's what they do. That's it. A ball. You guys, a ball, and they are prosperous. They got no real skill set other than a ball. That's it. And you are over here, if I go to school, because this was me, right? If I go to school and I get all my degrees, because that was back when I thought it meant something, surely then that would mean I would have a certain kind of lifestyle. And it was a real hard awakening when I realized it didn't mean any of that. What it meant was that I owed the government a lot of fucking money in student loans, and that it was a scam, and that they're probably laughing right now in some boardroom led by old white men because they realized that they got one on yet another child who was asked to sign over their fucking life to loans due to a predatory lending program, but like whatever, right? All to access education that is one of that's below par in comparison to other well-developed countries. American schooling isn't even good. Yet we make people pay so much for it. Those people come out of school and they can't get jobs. So what does that tell you about how the formulas that we've been taught don't work? We're taught that if you want a good job that's high paying, that you must go to school and you pay all this money for a degree, and people are coming out and they make no money. They can't even get a job. It's not a necessary part of the formula. It's just me equals. So I'm going to send you guys away with the task now that I have led quite the riveting soapbox. Just sit down with yourself and write a list of what you want, right? That's it. Each bullet point on your list to have 1 or 2 words. That's it, right? So if you want to say, I want money, right? And probably be more specific in terms of like how much money, because you can find $1 in the parking lot and the universe is going to be like, all right, we're done here. You said you wanted money, we gave it to you, and that's it, right? Oh, by the way, remember back in the day how you would actually find dollars in parking lots? You can't find money on the ground at all these days. Maybe a penny, but that's it. But anyway, so create this list for yourself of what you want. I want 1 word, because sometimes what happens, people's lists start to turn into like negotiations, right? I want this house and I'm going to do all of this to get this house, or I deserve a house, right? Where people do affirmations. That's my favorite. I deserve a house. Ain't nobody asked you, sis, about what you deserve. What they asked you is what you wanted. Right? So I don't care about the rest of that. Write a list about what you want. The list should say, I want, and start listing. What do you want? Because a lot of you don't know, because people have never asked you. No one really just said, what do you want? You've never actually probably had the opportunity to sit down and just ask yourself what you want. And the things that I want you to write down are the things that make you uncomfortable, right? So I'll give it to you this way. Some people know, like I know I want to write a book one day, right? But I'm only just now reaching a point where I can say that out loud. Why? I don't know. Part of it was embarrassment. Why would I be embarrassed about wanting to write a book? That don't make no sense, but I held it for a really long time. Part of it was shame. I don't know why I felt ashamed for wanting to write a book, but I held it for a really long time. And then also it was a lot of fear of rejection or fear of what people would say, that if I told my family or friends that I wanted to write a book, that people would go, oh, really? Like, you think you can do that? And I didn't want to face that either. And so for a really long time, I never said it. Right? And so what I would do to myself and say was, maybe I should work on my writing skills. Maybe I should get an idea of what I would write about. And I started that negotiation process, right? And then eventually I had to be like, you know what? No, I want to write a book. And then I had to end what I said. And then, interesting enough, I've actually been contacted by people asking, hey, you want to write a book? Won't go into too many details there. But the fact that like I had to switch over from going, oh, because of all of this, I deserve all of this. I had the same thing with money. When I initially tried to manifest money, it was, I deserve money. I'm going to work really hard to get money and blah, because I thought that when you work with the universe, that's what you're literally working, like labor, that in order to get the universe to help you, you have to work with the universe. And that meant that I gave labor, like blood, sweat, and tears, that meant I had to sweat or cry over what it was that I was trying to manifest. And then one day I said, screw it. I just want money. And then I was like, if I remember saying to Spirit, I was so annoyed. I said, I want money. And I said, if you want me to continue serving for the collective, you better pay me. I'm not doing this shit for free. And I was like, I don't work for anybody else for free. If I'm going to work on behalf of the entire collective, somebody better pay up, because this ain't working for me. I was like, I want some money pronto. And not only do I want money, I want to be comfortable. Like, I want to like go to a restaurant and just eat whatever I want to eat. I don't want to be sitting there budgeting and like, oh my God, can I get a Coke or do I have to have tap water? Right. And I remember going, I just want money. It was the moment I like dropped this idea of like money required labor or intense like work in order to get it, is when it started to flow into my life. And then what I said was, okay, I want to make the most amount of money for the least amount of work. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that I'm not always going to be working on a project or a creative thing that may at some point bring in money down the road. But the idea was I didn't want to die over money, right? People like walk themselves into hospitals because they're so worked up and so stressed over money. I didn't want that for my life. I wanted to make the most amount of money for the least amount of work. And what I really meant by that was I wanted to make money the way you see rich people make money. Like the 1% make money. They make money by not doing much anything. They have creative ideas and creative projects from time to time that honestly people are on payroll to help them have, right? But they're still making stuff. They're still making some form of income. There's still some form of abundance coming in. And so my thing is, I just want to always be taken care of, right? If you can co-create with me, and I'm telling you right now that I want to make sure all of my needs are always met comfortably, not like they're just met, right? Like where I'm like struggling, I want my needs to always be met comfortably. Then me and you, Spirit, we got ourselves a deal, right? But this is what I want. These are my terms. And I'm not negotiating that at all. Universe, I want some money. Right? Universe, I want this, I want that. And when my perspective changed on what I wanted and like what I was willing to do to get it, which if I'm honest is absolutely fucking nothing, then things started to flow into my life. When I realized that I didn't have to exchange labor for stuff or people or experiences, then my life started to shift. And that for me was like the sort of physical confirmation that I needed to see in my life that our formula for what we needed was always wrong, right? So I'm gonna end you guys with that. I want you to really marinate on that. Like let it sit, let it soak into the brain tissues, sleep on it, right? And really have a conversation with yourself about what it is that you want. Because a lot of you probably don't know, or you have to get back in touch with yourself, right? And another thing I want to say really quick, it just occurred to me, think about the times when you were a kid. And I'm talking like little, right? I'm talking like 4 or 5. If you have memories from that age, maybe 6, think about the times when you first started having memories and how easy it was to get things. I remember as a kid wanting something and then would just have it, right? And I'm not necessarily talking always about like wanting a new toy. Something about manifestation as a child, it was just easier. It was easier to get things as a child because children don't have all of that resistance yet, right? That is before the programming of society really seeps into them, right? They're not in that place yet where they feel like they have to deserve to have. They just want, so they get, right? How easy it was at that time. There's been numerous times in your life where you just wanted and then so you got. Start recalling all those times where you wanted and then you just got, because those are confirmations of what I'm saying to you now, that it is not a requirement that you deserve, earn, or work for anything that you want to manifest. All you have to do is simply want it. The universe never asked for supporting details or information. The universe simply just wanted to know, what do you want? Secret formula is me equals